So hi all, welcome back to Learning Partner. This is the series Angular 21 tutorial. Now, till now we have completed basic installation, project file structure, component, data binding, signal, control flow statement, and routing. Now, this part was remaining, that is attribute directive. So the term directive now. So what is directive? Means from Angular 2 to up to Angular 17 or 18 or 19, we had directive. So there were two types of directive, structural directive and attribute directive. In structural directive, we used to have ng for and ng, but that got deprecated now because we got control flow statement. But attribute directive is still there. So ngClass and ngStyle. So these are the directive which helps us to add dynamic CSS and dynamic class. CSS class. Okay. Now, before starting, just want to repeat ki if you are new, please do like and subscribe my channel. In video description, you will be finding a link of my WhatsApp community group. You can join that where you will get to directly connect with me with your queries and if any doubts is there. Fine. Now let's start. So attribute directive. So what I have done, I have created a component that is this component ng dynamic CSS and class. After that, I created a route. This I have already covered how we create component and how do we create the route. So that's why I'm not repeating it again. Once you create the route in navbar, I have added this link over here. Fine. So let's close this dynamic css.ts. Now some real-time scenarios I will take again related to e-commerce application because we need a scenario, right? So first is like, let's say, you know that price means sometimes, or let's start with very basic. Let's say so many applications are there where you get some classes from your API side. Means either means according to the user role, some UI combination or some UI theme is different, right? You might have seen some application where according to the user role, we get some different look and feel. Color combination is something else, right? So from API, you get the class and that class you add it on your parent element and likewise, your whole CSS keep changing. So consider you have a variable. Let's say my class name data type string is equal to, let's say, now just an example, bg warning. So now bg warning class is present in my bootstrap. What the purpose of it? It add a your yellow color, right? So dot row dot call 3. Now inside this call 3, let's have a div. And this div will have, let's say, p4 spacing, div1, div1. Now to this div, I want to add the class, but my class name is coming in this variable. Let's say you have an API call and from that API call, you are getting the class name and that you are storing over here. So whatever the value I have in my this variable, that value I need to add over here as a class. So this is my static class. Now, just like this, I can add a dynamic class also. Means the class which I'm getting from a variable. So we have to import ngClass like this. Then you can use square bracket ngClass and you can pass your variable name like this over here. Okay. So now if you save, see this div is getting that yellow color bg class is getting added. If I show you by doing inspect, here you can see p4 was our static class, but bg warning class is coming from our variable. Got it? Now let's say you have a variable over here. One more div is there. Let's say call to, and you have a text box over here. So see dynamic. Now this variable, I will bind it to the ng model directive on this text box, my class name. And since we are using ng model again, we need to import forms module. Fine. Now see what happens. If I change it to danger, getting it? So my div is getting by default means dynamic class. So whatever you typed in this text box that get added as a class over here. So this is your dynamic class. How do you add a dynamic class? Okay. Now it can be condition based also. This is what in this variable you are directly getting the class name. Sometimes it can be condition based also. Let's say you have a variable. So let's say activation status is active colon boolean let's say we have false value. If this variable is true, let's create one more column and we'll have a button over here. So for this button, we will have just a static as btn. Now, this button color should be, if the variable is active, we need to add a green color, otherwise red color. Okay. So for that, what we need to do, square bracket ngClass equal to now condition base. So if this variable is true, equal to true, ternary operator, question mark this class, otherwise this class. So here, if this condition gets satisfied, we have to add btn success class, otherwise btn danger class. Now here we are not getting the value class name from any variable, but here we are passing dynamical. If this condition gets satisfied, this class get added, otherwise this class get added. Let's see. Wait, why it is being like this? Let's add a class form hyphen control btn. Okay, we didn't add the text. My button, fine, or status, that will be proper. See, so current my variable value is false, so that's why this class is getting added. Let's say if I change this variable value to true, so if this condition gets true, this class will get added. See, green color, getting it? Let's say on the button click only, we need to change the value of this variable also. So click here only, I will change the value. Equal to is equal to not of this, because it's a boolean value, so we can use not sign. See, getting it? It is getting changed. So on click of the button, I'm changing the variable value. Once the variable value is getting changed, the respective class is also getting changed. So ngClass, either you have a class name in a variable, you can pass it directly over here. Condition wise also you can add. That is the second way what we did. If this condition gets true, this class will get added, otherwise this class. So wherever you have condition, where anything, any element it can be, let it be any element. If you want to add a dynamic class according to some conditions, so this is how we use it. Okay. Now you might have seen in e-commerce application or somewhere, let's say you have a requirement like dot row dot call 3. Let's say you have a, what do we say, that price you want to show. Or discount or something you can say. Let's say you have a paragraph over here and inside that you are showing price. Okay. Let's say dollar, and here whatever the price you have. So let's create a variable product price is equal to, let's say, 500. Now we have to add a dynamic class to this paragraph. If my product price is less than 500, I want to add green color, and if it is greater than 500, I want to show the red color. It is on the higher size, something like stock you can say. Okay, so ngClass, just various scenarios, right? Condition will keep on changing. So product price is greater than 500. If it is greater than 500, text danger class, or else test primary class. And here we will show the product price itself. Let's see. Currently, why it is saying save. Okay. So currently it is showing green color class. See, text primary class might be added because currently product price is not less than this. Let's say if I add it to 600. Is it not saved or what? See, red color. Getting it? Again, we can make it dynamic also, right? Just like this, one more text box we can have. We can change it quickly. And here we will bind this variable. So more dynamic we can see properly. So if I pass 300, see, green. If I pass 800, red, 8000, more than 500, that is our condition. Getting it? So just like that, so many various scenarios can be there where conditional you need to do something. You know that in other previous video in control flow statement, here we have done it. If the in employee array, if we had that property true and false, we were showing active day active. Let's go to that component, control flow statement. See over here, let me show you the array also. So here we had the employee list, and in every employee object, we had this property is active, which is having Boolean value. Now, here we were showing two different elements, strong with different class. Instead of having two different elements, we could have done it with a single element also by adding a dynamic class. See, so strong condition ngClass. Condition will be if item.active equal to true, this will be your condition. If it is true, this class, otherwise this class. So text success class will be over here or text danger. And let's say here also title also we need to make it dynamic. So interpolation and same ternary operator, you can use it over here. If it is true, you say this, otherwise this. Getting it? So instead of having two different elements, you can do the same thing over here with the single element also. Same output you get. Sorry. Now we are using ngClass. If you have to use ngClass, we need to import it. It's imported also. Let's save again. It might not be saved. See, it is doing the same output. Either you go with two element or you manage the same element with ngClass. Wait, something is breaking. Where okay, so ngClass it is pointing to something else. So sorry. Let's add the proper into for common. Okay. Even if I refresh, I get the same output. So previously we handled the same thing with two different element with ngIf, but now with the same element, we have handled the same thing by adding a dynamic class. So this is also possible. Getting it? So this is how you add a dynamic CSS, means specific to your class. Okay. Now same scenarios, whatever we did, if we want to make it a, means currently what we have seen ngClass helps you to add dynamic classes. But let's say you want to add dynamic CSS. So whatever the scenarios we have done for dynamic CSS, similar to that, we will try with your CSS. Okay. So let's say the first scenario, this one, let me just copy paste. Now here we did that using ngClass, but let's say now, okay, let it be. We will create one more variable also. Let's not disturb the existing flow. Now let's say instead of class name, now you are getting you will have a div and you have a color picker, and whatever the color you pick, that color should get added as a background to your div. So div back color, just a normal variable, data type string is equal to empty. And this variable, I will bind it to this text box. And now here, instead of using ngClass, now I'm going to get the value itself, red, blue, whatever value. That value, whatever I get, I want to add it over here as a background color. So we do that style, right? So just like style, we have ngStyle over here. So ngStyle we need to import. First you need to import, then only you can use it. So over here, square bracket ngStyle, sorry, ngStyle equal to curly bracket you need to write, because when we talk about CSS, it is having key value pair data. Key, then what value? Key, what value? Means color, value, background color, value, font size, value. So that's why object. So color, colon. Now what color you have to pass? Whatever the value you have it over here. Okay. So see now. Let's go to this. Now div 22 currently doesn't have any color, but if I pass a red, wait, what we did? Sorry, background color we need, not the color. So background, because why we are enclosing this in a single quote? Because we have a hyphen in between. If it's a single value, single word, you can directly write it. But if it contains hyphen separated, you have to enclose in a single quote. See, red, blue. Let me inspect and show it to you. So just pay attention over here in the style CSS. Yellow. Getting it? Whatever the value you are putting into that variable, that value is getting dynamically added over here. This is your how you add a dynamic CSS. Okay. Sometimes it is possible that so many applications are there where we give access to the user that you can set your theme, what font color you need, what button color you need. So many applications are there where user has the control ki what button color I should need. For save button, what color I need. For error button, means delete button, what I color need. For font text, what color I need. So I can have that. So consider like you have an application like that, and all that color you are storing into a API. And on the page load, you get that data. So my CSS is equal to curly bracket. So color, let's say red, background color black, font hyphen size 35 px. So you can see I have a variable. Inside that variable, I have an object, but this object looks like CSS. So this variable I can directly add to my this div also, ngStyle, and directly variable. See, ngStyle what it needs? CSS array object, and inside that key value pair data. Doesn't matter if you write it over here or you are getting that from a variable. Okay. See, we don't have any text, right? Let's start div 55. See, red color. So this div has all the CSS which is coming from your, but why font size is not there? Something spelling mistake we did. Yes, size. Now font size will also get applied. See, getting it? So now this div has the CSS which is coming from your variable. This is also possible. So these are the all scenarios what we can see in ngClass and ngStyle. Okay. Now this is by using, we have added the style by using your ngClass directive. But without using ngClass also you can do it. How? Let's see that. HR, same scenario I'm using. So let's say whatever the value you have in this variable class name that you want to add it to this div. But instead of using this, you can use the property binding also. Square bracket, square bracket. This is your static value, then dynamic value. So plus and your variable name. Concatenation, right? So we need a space in between. So this was, you are adding a dynamic class by using ngClass, and this is you are adding a dynamic class by using property binding. Let's see. See, same behavior here also. Let's change it. Danger. Getting it? So this is by using ngClass. This is by using class property binding. So this is also possible. Just like same thing happens with your, what do we say, ngStyle also. So now here, instead of using ngStyle, what I can do, normal style, background color, colon, here I can use the interpolation. And this back color, I think we cannot use it with ngStyle. I thought it. So there are some validation with rules with a style. With style, we cannot use interpolation. Okay, let me try with this. Mhm, mhm. Mm, let's try like this as a property binding. Where was it? Red. No, it's not working. See, so property binding with class it will work fine, but style doesn't allow that. Okay, so instead of, if you have to add a dynamic CSS, the only option is ngStyle only. Same thing, you cannot use it over here. Okay, my bad, I thought like it, then I remember it doesn't work. Okay, so if you want to add a dynamic class, there are two ways, by property binding or by using ngClass. But if you want to add a dynamic CSS, ngStyle is the way. Got it? So this is your directive. Now, what is directive? Just the definition, because in interview they will ask you, what is directive? So directive allows you to modify the behavior of existing element. Sometimes you can add some CSS, sometimes you can add some dynamic class, you can hide and show, you can create new element. So all that thing, right? Directive, each directive has some unique operations that it can do. Like ngIf was responsible to add or remove the element, ngFor to iterate the element, ngClass to add dynamic class, ngStyle to add dynamic CSS. Just like that, you can create your custom directive also. We will see that once we are done with the basic topic. Okay. So I hope this was clear to you. How to use ngClass and how to use ngStyle. We have tried to find some real-time example. Again, so many example we can see. But okay, let me show you one more quick. Let's say whole this UI, I want to wrap it in a card. So dot row dot call, let's say it. Inside that I have a card. This is very real time. Card header, and inside that row call, let's say 8 list call 4. Wait, sorry, in header. Yeah, correct. Button. Let me just create the UI, then you will be able to understand what I'm talking about. btn hyphen success. This is your one card header. After that, you need card body hyphen body, and here you have some divs over here, or let's write it afterwards. After call it, same structure you will have it over here. Let's say here we will have the form. Call 4. Okay. Now this first two div, I will put it in the call it column over here, and remaining I will put it in other column. Let's format it properly. Save. I forgot to add color to the card header. BG primary. Save. Fine. Let's see. Consider you have a UI like this. Here you show the table and here you have the form. Okay. And here you will have the buttons to toggle it. So here open, and here you will have the close button. Why buttons are not visible properly? SUCCSS BTN spelling is mistake. Okay. And let's add it to the end. Text hyphen end. Let's copy this over here also. Okay, so see the UI. You have two cards. One where you are going to show the table data, and here you are going to have the form. If you click on open, then only this form should be visible. If you click on close, this should get hidden and this should take the complete width. So for this, what you do, you create a variable is side panel, sorry, panel is equal to, instead of normal variable, I'm using signal. So get used to it. Sometimes I will use normal variable, sometimes I will use signal, because get used to signal. From 21, it's going to be a major thing. Signal based form is also there, right? So if this variable is true, then only we need to show this. So here I will use @if. So call for the side panel will be visible only if this variable is true. So this is a signal. So I will access as a method. Okay. So let's see this. So by default, this is not visible because we said false. So if it is false, this should take the complete width, because otherwise it is an empty space, right? So now here by using this variable, we have to add a dynamic class to your this card. So instead of this static square bracket ngClass, condition, if this variable is true, then this class, otherwise this class. So call 8, otherwise call 12. Okay, let's see. Or vice versa, sorry. If this variable is true, call 8 over here, otherwise call 12. Got it. See, by default that side panel is hidden, so we have to do it. Now on click of it, I just need to change that variable value to true. So let's create this function. Click, Open side panel. Let's create this function. And in this function, what we need to do, we just need to change the variable value to true. So this dot is side panel dot set. What you need to do, true. And just like that, close side panel function we need. And over there, we will just change the value to false. And this function we need to call on the close button over here. Okay. Let's save and check now. So by default, you get that variable was false. So side panel is hidden and you get this complete width. If I click on open, see the width is dynamic now and you got the form visual. Again, if I click close, see, getting it? Side panel is opening and closing. So this is also one of the example key real time. This is very real time. In so many project, if your form is very short one, 5 to 6 fields are there. So instead of creating a new component, we use the form in the same component, but we don't want to show the form at all time, right? So this is how we use to toggle. Somewhere on click of open, we hide the table itself and we show the form and vice versa. That is also possible. So many scenarios are there around this. Okay. So I hope this topic was clear to you. I tried to take so many real-time example, right? Again, if you are following this, please do like, join my, subscribe to my channel and join the WhatsApp community mentioned in the video description also. Thank you all. Thanks for watching.